Squatch Senior here. Kind of a rainy morning. Got 1+ inches of rain already this morning. It's supposed to be kind of rainy off and on all day, so figured it'd be a good time to get some shop work done. Then we got the radiator back for the 212 grader. Pretty upstanding job done here by the Hermantown Radiator Shop. Anyway, we're going to get into start prepping this for installation. And we will go down to the machine and I'll show you what I got going on down there. Down here at the machine, one issue I'm going to address before we get into installing this radiator is the fan belt tensioning system. As you can see, extreme looseness in the belt there. And I have been doing some work on this already, so I've had this apart, kind of know what's going on. But to get into the adjuster of the pulley back here, you can see it's threaded. The sheave threads in and out, and that's how you adjust your belt tension. But to get at that, the first thing you've got to do is you remove this cap from the outside. There's a pin you got to drift out, and then the fan can come right off. Okay, and what that does, that fan hub is splined, and the pin in there is what drives the impeller to the back of the water pump. As you can see, extremely rusted here. Figured this was an ideal time to get this taken apart. Bearings are a little loose. Address that at the same time. So see if we can get this pulley and belt off of here one-handed. I'm not sure. I've had it off already, but it should come off without too much problem. Okay, and what I found behind here, extremely loaded up with grease on the back side. And what has happened from greasing, they've pushed the back seal out. So we'll get this all addressed and get this all loosened up in here. We do have a couple of other pulley systems like this around. If this one gets to be too hard to work on, we'll just replace it with another one. So probably one of the projects I'll be into today is getting this water pump drive system plumbed, all put back together, and so we can get that radiator back on. And I got things all tore apart. Put some heat on this thing. You can see her smoking yet, and we did get the flange loose, at least to move. So what we're going to do, we'll let this thing cool down, and I've got the parts ordered, seals, bearings. They won't be until tomorrow, so this about as far as I'm going to go on this thing today. Okay, here I am back on the water pump pulley for the 212 grader. Got my parts, got the seal I needed, 2 bearings. Bearings are sealed both sides. I'm going to install them that way, give it a try. That's more than likely going to outlast me and maybe even the next generation for the number of hours this gets on it. And what I am going to do also is eliminate the Zerk fitting and just put a plug in it. As you can see, I have done a little painting on this. The reason I did that is when I took this apart, I had to do a lot of extreme heat on this. Burned all the paint off. Figured that's the best way to keep things from really rusting up after there's no paint left on it at all. And another interesting thing you will see is where the pulley lock bolt, set bolt goes in. You can see how the threads are all damaged around that area, all 3 of them. Well, what they have done in the past is they used the wrong bolt in there. It's supposed to be an end like that will go down and just fit in to that slot. You don't want it hitting threads and destroying threads. Could have been part of my problem too. If you look real close, maybe you can pick it out. You can see where some of the threads have been hitting the end of that. Looks like they had done a half attempt to try and get a point on there, but it wasn't sufficient. So anyway, I'm going to start installing bearings. We'll get the seal in and get this thing put together. Okay, I've got one bearing installed. Got the spacer in there, ready to stick the other bearing in. I went ahead and applied a layer of grease into everything in there, seeing as how I had it all washed out and clean. That helped keep the rust at bay if any moisture or anything gets in there. So, okay, got the second bearing installed, ready to put the seal in. And I packed some extra grease around the inside of that seal, seeing I won't be greasing this bearing. That should help maintain the lubrication on that seal lip. So let's get this installed. Probably won't see it on camera because I got the camera in one hand, seal in the other, and I need two hands. Okay, both bearings in place, seal installed, everything greased inside. I did a light coat of grease on the threads for the adjustable sheave, and we'll get that installed. Basically pretty simple. You just one-handed here, I think we'll get her. And she really goes smooth now. Shouldn't have any problems at all getting this belt adjusted. Hey, here we are. We have a finished product ready to install on the machine. Okay, got the shaft cleaned up. A little bit of skim of grease on it. First thing we'll do, we'll slide the belt on everything. It's easier to get it on now. Got the pulley backed way off, and hopefully everything will slide on the way it's supposed to. One thing we have to do is get the spacer lined up in there. There we go. And everything pushed in.
Fold over lock and the nut.
Okay, got the pulley installed, got the fan belt on, still needs to be adjusted. We'll do that after the fan is on. I've got the fold over lock, folded over onto the nut, everything tightened in position. And as you will notice, I do have a little in and out play. Okay, that will be taken care of with the fan. As you can see, I've got the gasket installed, got sealer on both sides, but the fan does have this extended collar on it that will press on the outside of the bearing. When this is all fastened down, that will take care of this play. Okay, fan's installed. As you can notice, it took all that in and out play out of there. Now when you install this fan, remember this is a spline shaft with just a pin that goes through, and this shaft has got to be pinned to the pulley fan assembly to get the impeller of the water pump to turn. So when you put this on, make sure that that pinhole lines up, and they're not drilled exactly true, because if you turn this around, it does not slide through. So make sure you get that pin lined up where it goes on the splines. Okay, let's finish up getting the pin in and the cap on. Okay, pin's in, ready to install the cap. Main purpose of this cap is to keep that pin in position and keeps dirt and stuff out of here. As you can see, I did do a light coat of grease on everything, so we'll get this cover pressed on. And I got a socket hammer, we'll take care of that. So, okay, cap installed. All we got left to do now is to adjust the belt. Pretty loose yet, so to do that, we'll just keep turning this pulley. You'll have to work this back and forth. We'll keep everything loosened up enough, keep some slack. It can be a trick sometimes to do this, but it's very possible to get her done. Now that we got everything cleaned up in there, threads and stuff, makes the job a whole lot easier. Okay, water pump sheave and fan all installed, belt adjusted to where I like it, and the lock bolt fell right into the groove the way it's supposed to. Went in there hand tight till the bottom, just give her a little bit of a snug, and tighten down the jam nut on there. So that should do that. I've been discussing maybe doing a new thermostat before the radiator goes on. That can be done afterwards too, but you got to be careful. A lot of times you start working on these old machines, what generally happens, you start here and you end up way down there. So I'm not into opening a whole can of worms with this. Might do the thermostat, get the radiator, crank her up, and put her to use. Squad Senior back here with an update on the 212 grader radiator rebuild. Been doing a lot of work on that here. Been chasing threads, cleaning threads, did a little painting on the fasteners. Things were really rusted in there, so they absolutely needed to be cleaned up. Got a little project going here with the surround for the radiator. Got the welder all set up. Where the hood fastens on, you got these welded in nuts in there. Well, one was missing, so this is an excellent time to get that repaired. Got a new piece made. Need to get that welded in, and radiator over there, all the threads chased along with the shroud. We'll get all the threads chased in that, all ready for mounting. So we'll get this piece mounted in and start installing the radiator in the surround. Well, the core set in place in the surround. I have started putting a few bolts in. As you can see here, I've got two of my gasket type shims here on the center. And what I'm doing, you can see quite a gap here. I can just take the shims, I can just kind of set them in there. And I got just a slight snug fit, so I know two of them will go in there. Some of these will be a little bit. I'm going to need at least three in that one. I've got two there. So we'll keep working around, get everything in position. The reason I'm just not putting a bind, I don't want to pull on the core at all. Chancing maybe breaking some solder joints loose, anything like that. So we'll keep this just as neutral as we can with no tension or anything. So, well, we'll finish putting this thing in. Squatch Senior here. Got Squatch down here with me. We're getting ready to install the radiator. First off, what we're going to do though is remove the thermostat housing and put a new thermostat in there and verify that we do have a thermostat in there. So we're going to take that apart first, as long as it's easy to get at, then we'll slide this radiator on. Well, didn't break any bolts. Well, loosened up easy enough. Okay, let's have a look inside. Looks like we got just pieces of thermostat in there. So Squatch has got his puller out. We're going to see if we can pull this retaining sleeve out, and then we'll pop the rest out.
All right, cinching down. I got one side of the ring moving. There, we're starting to lift over here. It's kind of a pain making these tools first time you do the job. Once you have them made, they really make life easier after that. There, ring is out. All right, there's the old thermostat. Not much left of it.
Okay, we're all set up to slide this radiator on. You will notice we're wearing our mask. One of us works around the public pretty consistently day after day, so...
Only because I have to.
Only because he has to. So, and me being a senior and my number's on the ticket, I'm going to be careful.
Let me guide these cooler lines in. Okay. Hang on a second, I gotta wash the fan blade here. There we go.
Okay, got the cooler lines all lined up and put in the oil filter tower. Let's see if we can get the bolt started. Well, have the radiator installed. Went really good. No damage or anything occurred for that. Still got the bottom radiator hose fittings to put on. Got to rebuild the thermostat. Got to machine out a spacer to so we can get it clamped down, finish that top end off. The core and the shroud still isn't bolted down solid. We've got a couple of support brackets on top. We're going to leave it a little bit loose till we get all that in and tighten her down then. Got the fan shrouds to put on yet. They're split in 2 pieces. Very easy to put on, one top, one bottom. They should go in pretty easy. So things are starting to come together. Okay, got everything in position. Nothing tightened down yet. We'll probably start with the thermostat housing, top radiator. We'll get the top radiator support brackets tightened down, and then finish up with the hose clamps.
Alright, so it's actually about a week later. We got a little bit busy with the Super M, so this thing just sat for a few days, but we have a nice afternoon today to try this out.